What's going on, movie meals? Sorry if the cameras looking a little weird. We're testing out some new equipment, yo.
I feel like we say that every video. New things are happening, but it all looks the same.
And it looks just as crappy as it did before.
Baby steps.
Movie meals.
We're
here. Movie meals. Time to eat some food. We don't have any food, but we're gonna eat it. Yeah. Okay, sorry.
That's true. We went away from the food thing.
Anyway. All right, guys. We are back. Talk about Kingsman: The Golden Circle. We saw it the other night. So we're going to start with Kyle because I don't like to go first. I'm just kidding. But we're going to start with Kyle. Kyle, what are your positives of Kingsman: The Golden Circle?
I really like that Matthew Vaughn was able to direct this sequel.
Liar!
Okay. All right. That's the end of the review.
See you guys.
My credibility means nothing. I'm not credible at all. Anyway, no, I'm very glad that he was able to come and do this sequel because of usually he doesn't go and do sequels. Usually he wants to keep working on new projects, which is totally cool. But with this franchise, though, and what he started with, he needed to have that same creativity brought back into this sequel, and I really enjoyed that. I really liked the creativity that he brought in with all the cool gadgets and all the cool equipment that the Kingsman as well as the Statesman were able to use, and I really liked that he was able to bring his directing style back into this movie as well. His fight choreography, his cinematography are all very fun and very entertaining to watch, just like the first one was. And he really brings back these characters that we enjoyed from the first one, as well as bringing in the Statesmen, and they were really fun to watch. For me, they actually didn't feel like it was making the movie feel bloated at all. It really felt like that it was just expanding this world more, and I thought that it was done pretty well. Kingsman was still a lot of fun to watch just because Matthew Vaughn was able to come back.
Yeah, I love Matthew Vaughn. He didn't come back for Kick-Ass 2, which people maybe credited about why that movie's not as good because with no Matthew Vaughn. But I was glad he came back. I love the Kingsman world. The first Kingsman was such a pleasant surprise.
It was
so good.
It was really good.
And this movie's fun to me. It's real fun. It's got fun moments. And I enjoy. Hang on, guys. Okay,
back this up. What?
So I really enjoy the movie a lot. I think it has a few issues. I think Matthew Vaughn's direction is great, though.
Yeah.
I think the actors are great. I do like the whole expansion with the Statesman. I thought the Statesman was amazing, and I would have loved to have seen even more of the Statesman. And I hope we get that in a third Kingsman.
Yeah.
And I really loved how the score stood out to me. The soundtrack again was very good. And I thought it was a really, really fun film. What are your negatives?
I was just gonna add on that. That's really the key thing about this franchise is that not only is it fun to watch, but it also just has a lot of heart and emotion to it, which is why I really enjoyed the first one because it had a really good balance between those two things. But I feel like in my negatives, it doesn't quite live up to that expectation of having the mix of those both worlds. While it did have the fun, it felt like the emotional stakes weren't quite all there like they should have been, like as compared to the first one. In the first one, I thought that they just did a really great job at diving into why we should care for these characters, why we should follow XZ as the main character. And in this one, it doesn't quite do that as well, I don't think. I just felt like the scenes, they were just adding scenes so that way it reminds us that we should have emotional attachment to the characters and not so much of really diving into how this emotion should be taking place for the viewer. And I also felt that the villain was very weak. Don't get me wrong, Julianne Moore is such a great actress, and she did do a good job in this movie for what she was given. But I just felt like she wasn't that threatening, and I felt like her motives weren't really anything that I was really caring for. Like it didn't attach
they weren't
me
as
to
fleshed
the movie
out
at
as
all.
Sam L. Jackson's in the first one.
It didn't quite have the same expectations, I guess, the same kind of stakes, at least for me. It just didn't work for me. So that was a bummer. That was really the main negatives overall, though.
So it's hard for me to talk about my positives without touching on the negatives because I do have a few negatives. And the film to me is not... When I think back to Kingsman, I remember the church scene. I remember the ending scene. I remember scenes that really stood out to me because there was a fun, memorable, surprise movie. And this one isn't as memorable. There's no big scene where I'm like, that's the scene I remember from Kingsman: The Golden Circle. There's no church scene. There's no ending scene. There's great action. There's great fun. And lots of laughs, but they took a few characters and directions. I was like, okay, this is interesting. This is in the trailers, so it's not a spoiler. They bring Colin Firth back, and that worked for me. It was fine.
Yeah, actually, I wasn't bothered by
how they did it at all. But then they took other characters in a direction I didn't really like. Some of the characters aren't in it as much. I would have loved to get more of the statesmen. We get a good amount of statesmen, but I would love, in the third movie, I'd really love to see more statesmen and Kingsman really team up.
Yeah.
I thought Channing Tatum was excellent. I thought Jeff Bridges and Halle Berry were excellent in the movie.
Pedro Pascal was also really good. He was one of the standouts.
He was good too. Yeah. I do agree with you with the villain. I've heard online some people are like, "Oh, she's in a completely different movie." She's no Rita Repulsa. She's no Rita Repulsa. That's a she's in a different movie. And this didn't feel like a different movie. It just you were like, okay, I guess you're just doing this to do this. It wasn't fleshed out as well.
Yeah, exactly.
And there was more than just her as a villain, and there's kind of crazy stuff.
She just sat behind a desk, like she wasn't all that. And there was cool stuff around her that would have made her interesting, but at the end of the movie, you just come out being like, man,
the film was a little bit too long to me. I think it could have been shaved down a little bit and worked just as well and not felt too tight or anything. I think it was a little long, drug on a little long. Yeah. But it did really have moments where it was like, all right, these are your new characters. You should just care about them. And for some of the villains it doesn't work. For some of the statesmen it does work. And they're like, hey, check this new guy out. And you're like, that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Channing Tatum's a great example. You're like, I like this guy. I want to know more about this guy. And some they're just like, all right, this guy's got issues. You should just care. And it's like, well, flush him out. Yeah. But I did have fun with the movie. To me, the first Kingsman was like I found a random, amazing steakhouse with a great steak, and I didn't know what it was, and it just blew my mind. And then I bragged about it for a year or two, and then I went back, and I was like, it wasn't as good as I remember. Like, it's fine. It's a good steak. But it wasn't as great as I remember, so...
Way to add the meal in the movie meals.
But I did enjoy myself. You're welcome. I did enjoy myself, and it's a fun movie. You should see it in the theater. It's beautifully shot. It looks great. The action's great. It's funny. So it is a good film. What is your score out of 10, good sir?
I think I'll give it a 7.5 out of 10. Like I said... This is
higher than I thought you might go.
Really?
A little bit, yeah.
This movie is still fun. But it's just a tiny step down as compared to the first, at least in my opinion. I think fans of the first one will enjoy this one, and I think continuing on, I want to see a little bit more of this world that they're setting up. But they still have all the fun that was in Kingsman, but the emotion wasn't all there as I wanted it to be as compared to the first. So.
Yeah, the first one was a pleasant surprise, different type of spy movie. This is an average spy movie to me.
Okay.
So I'm going to give it a 7, but I'm actually leaning towards the 6.5 range. If you had to put a gun to my head, it's just it's not memorable to me. There's it's fun, it's fine. I'll maybe watch it again on Netflix or something one day, but it's not as great as the first movie. But it is worth checking out. But I'm going to go with a 7. Because I did have a lot of laughs. I did have some fun moments. So I'll give it a 7 out of 10. Guys, what did you think of Kingsman: The Golden Circle? Comment below. Let us know. Please subscribe, share, like, all that beautiful stuff. And thank you guys for all your support on Movie Meals. We're sorry still with our lulls in videos. We're waiting for Oscar season and more movies to ramp up. We also are incredibly busy this year. This guy's not in school anymore. I'm still in school, and our schedules do not mix at all.
Yeah, really though.
It's hard for us to just find time to sit. We live together, guys. It's hard for us to find time to just sit and talk, let alone sit down, get in the studio and do something.
Talk about movies. That's what we want to do.
But we're gonna get better. Movie reviews every weekend will still be up now that there'll be a movie to see just about every weekend, maybe a week or two where great movies come out. But
we say this a lot, but it will pick up. We promise.
We promise. All right, guys. Again, comment, do all that great stuff, and as always, Mom, thanks for watching.
See you guys.